kind of concepts or the content that we have in here. This course would definitely help you with that part. We are going to talk about a lot of different terminologies in here. How do we differentiate between those terminologies as well, and which can always help you to communicate with your senior management in the organization and convince them to, invest in IT or the digital organization. So, yeah, anything that you would like to say? Well, definitely, I'll do that. Give me a moment. I'm sorry, I didn't get you. Well, I am located in India, so I'm not too sure how government is doing in the UAE. Yeah, yeah. No, no, I'm in India. But yeah, there has been a lot of conflict for sure, which is not too great for the world as well. Absolutely, it is. Thank you so much. And that's what we should look for, right? So that's how things should be. All right, give me a moment here. Going to share my screen. All right, so I believe you can see my screen. It's a blank whiteboard. Wait. All right, so the course that we are doing here is ITIL 4 Digital and IT Strategy, also called ITL 4 DITS. Right. So, digital and IT strategy, like I said, we are going to talk about how we can transform the organization from being an analog organization to a digital organization is what we look for. So, for this particular course, the total chapters that we have are 11, for which we have 3 days. So, we are going to divide these 11 chapters into 3 days. Day one, we are going to do chapter number 1 to chapter number 4. Day two, we are going to do chapter number 5 to chapter number 8, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And day 3, we are going to do the remaining of the chapters, which are chapter number 9 till 11. Plus, we are going to do exam practice on the last day itself. Right now, this is just a tentative plan. We can always modify this plan as and when needed. If we are going at a good pace, then we can, do more chapters. If we are going a little slower, then we can maybe, take some rest, download the information that we have, and then begin with it. So just a tentative plan that we have created, but of course, we can always follow it as and when needed, and then we can finally go ahead and work through it. So about the breaks part, usually take 3 breaks during the session. So there are 2 short breaks, which are 15 to 20 minutes each. And then there is 1 lunch break, which would be 45 to 60 minutes. Again, that would be dependent on the pace that you are moving forward on, right? So 1 short break in the first half, another short break in the second half, and then 1 lunch break is what we usually plan for. As and when we need a break, if in case, let's say you want to stretch yourself, grab a glass of water, use the restroom, you can always let me know. We can always accommodate an easy 5 minute break in between as well. So this is how we move forward. There is another aspect about this particular course, or let's just talk about the exam part first. Uh, there is an exam, of course, related to this course, wherein, sorry, yes, you would. I believe you would receive a voucher wherein you can redeem the voucher on the People Search website, and you would get the full study guide there. Everything, the learner workbook, the material, exam, everything it would be there. I'll guide you through how to redeem that as well. Yeah. So the total questions that you get here for this particular exam or certification are 30. To pass, we need to score at least 21 out of 30, which is 70%. And the time that we have to do this exam is 60 minutes, 1 hour. Right. So within those 60 minutes, we have to answer all the 30 questions. And once we answer these 30 questions, they would, of course, go ahead and evaluate us, see if we have scored more than 21 or 21 at least. And they would give us the result as to we have passed the exam or if we have failed the exam. Right. So that's something about the multiple choice question exam that we have to look at while we prepare for this particular certification. Another key aspect here about the course, just a sec, is the assignments. Now, there are 4 assignments in total that we can work through. Uh, these are based on a case study and about the case study, there are 3 hypothetical companies. Out of these 3 companies, we need to select one and answer all the assignments based on that company only. Right. So the assignment files, the case studies, everything I would be sharing with you. I'll share those over chat or over email, however you would prefer. And then we can work through these assignments as well. Now, these assignments is something that you can also do as a homework. I mean, rather than doing it in the class, just because you're an individual. I mean, if we have a group one, then we usually do it during the class. But since you are an individual, so you can answer these later after the training as well. But if you wish, you can do it during the training as well. Right. So we'll see how much information can we download and, if you are prepared enough to answer those assignments or not. Anything else that you would like to ask? This is the basic information about the course. No, each of these assignments that we have. So, for example, if we are doing assignment one, it would have limited information about the concepts that we have covered during the class. So you can use those concepts, answer assignment one. The next assignment would only be given to you once you have covered all the concepts related to assignment number two, and then assignment number three, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So that's how we are going to move forward, or that's how we plan to move forward. Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to ask something? Okay. Absolutely. So see, but from for the exam that I was talking about earlier, the multiple choice question exam, that would not really be a case study based exam. There may just be scenario based questions. So they would give you a scenario and then they would ask you questions, four options. You just have to select one. But these assignments can always help you to apply those concepts that we're going to learn within the practical environment, given the scenarios or the case studies. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So how it works is that you would be given a voucher. When you log on to PeopleCert, you redeem that voucher on the website. Once you redeem the voucher, you get access to all the learning material, like I said earlier, and along with that, you get an access to register for the exam. Once you register for the exam, from that date of registration, you would have 1 year, and during which you can take the exam. Once you decide to take the exam, you can always schedule the exam based on the available slots that they have, available dates that they have. You select that slot as per your convenience, and you can then write the exam. All right, so let's then begin. So just a copyrighted information. PeopleCert has the copyright to this presentation, just basic things. Introduction, something that we just talked about earlier. Course introduction, again, something that we have done. General information, the certification journey of ITIL4. Do you know this or do you want me to explain this? Sure, sure. Mhm. We do have different levels for version 5, but that has not been launched as of now for public, right? So it's still in the beta process, I would say, right? So they are just refining the information. They are just updating the information as of now for all the certifications. And once it would be out, that is when we can do it. Now, that does not mean that these certifications go for a waste. Why do I say that? Because there is going to be a certification within ITL version 5, which is called ITIL transformation. So if you have achieved these designations here, then you don't need to do all the exams for version 5. You just do one exam, ITIL transformation, and you would be an ITL master. But again, this is something that is still in the beta stage. So I would not just go ahead and, confirm this to you. But yeah, this is how likely it is going to go. All right. So for the ITIL 4 certification journey, the basic step or the basic certification that we have is ITL Foundation. Right. So understand it this way, that there are different designations that is offered by ITIL. Right. So ITL Foundation is the first qualification that we can achieve. After that, we have ITL Practice Manager. We have ITL Managing Professional. And we have ITL Strategic Leader. Three different designations that we have. We can pursue any one of it. If we want to become an ITL Managing Professional, then there are 4 certifications that we have to do, which is Direct Plan and Improve, High Velocity IT, Drive Stakeholder Value, and Create, Deliver, and Support. Once we pass these 4 certification exams, or once we achieve these 4 certifications, we are awarded a designation which is called ITL Managing Professional. Similarly, we have ITL Strategic Leader. For becoming an ITL Strategic Leader, there are 2 certifications. One, Digital and IT Strategy, the one that we're doing now. And then there is Direct Plan and Improve. You would see Direct Plan as Improve, and Improve is in the center of Managing Professional and Strategic Leader, which means this certification is required for both the designations. Similarly, there is ITL Practice Manager. For becoming a practice manager, we can do one of these 3 certifications: Monitor, Support, and Fulfill, Plan, Implement, and Control, Collaborate, Assure, and Improve, along with Create, Deliver, and Support. So that means we need to have Create, Deliver, and Support and any one of these certifications: Monitor, Support, and Fulfill, Plan, Implement, and Control, or Collaborate, Assure, and Improve. Then we can achieve the designation for ITIL Practice Manager. Once I have all these 3 designations, which is the Practice Manager, the Managing Professional, and the Strategic Leader, I am automatically awarded a designation which is called ITIL Master. This is where I stand right now. Right. So this is what my current designation is. Apart from these designations and certifications, we have certain extension module as well. Now, these extension modules are for people who work in a specific domain. So, for example, someone is part of an IT department, but is more related to acquiring and managing cloud services. They can go for this one. There are people who negotiate with the customers, who talk to the customers, understand their requirements, work through the requirements. For them, business relationship management. For an organization which has now been transformed, which has now been digitally transformed, and they work through different technology and the IT and technology there, to sustain in that environment, what do they need to do is defined in the sustainability aspect. And then similarly, there is IT asset management, people who are working as a part of IT asset management team, taking care of the complete life cycle of the IT assets. They can go for this particular designation, this particular certification. Now, these certifications, these extension modules are not offering you any designation as such, right? So they are just the certifications for specific domain. Whereas when it comes to the designation part, practice manager, managing professional, strategic leader, ITIL master, these are the designations. Clear? Then the overall course objective. At the end of this course, what we would be able to do. Demonstrate the use of ITIL guiding principles in digital and IT strategy decisions and activities. Do you remember the guiding principles that we have that were defined in ITIL Foundation? 7 guiding principles. Focus on value, start where you are, progress iteratively with feedback, uh, collaborate and promote visibility, think and work holistically, keep it simple and practical, and optimize and automate. So how do those 7 principles relate to digital and IT strategy decisions here is what we're going to talk about. Then how to understand how to leverage digital strategy to react to digital disruption. Now, this is not a common disruption or a normal disruption that we face on a day-to-day basis. This is the disruption that we are going to talk about at an organizational level, at an industry level, at a market level, at an ecosystem level, which has disrupted, for example, multiple industries, multiple markets. So, for example, the use of cloud services. Use of cloud services is not specific to one organization. It has led to change in the way of working for many different industries and markets, many different organizations, right? So those kind of disruptions is what we're going to talk about. Yes. Business model or the operating model of the organization. Then understand the relationship between the concepts of digital and IT strategy, the service value system, and the service value chain, and explain how to utilize them to create value. Well, of course, the overall service value system, which had 5 components, if you remember: guiding principles, governance, service value chain, value streams, right? Practices, continual improvement, all those factors. How do they relate to digital and IT strategies? What we're going to discuss. Understand how an organization uses digital and IT strategy to remain viable in the environments disrupted by digital technology. Well, of course, as an organization, if we want to remain competitive, we need to adopt to such changes that comes in the digital environment. So when we adopt to those changes, how can we remain viable? How can we remain competitive within the environment is also something that we're going to discuss. Then understand the strategic approaches made possible by digital and information technology to achieve customer or the market relevance and operational excellence. Now, 2 key factors, like we said, that we want to remain viable in the market, which has been disrupted by digital technology. How do we remain viable? One, by understanding the customer needs and requirements, right? So how the needs and requirements are changing for the customers, how things are working for the customers, what things are working for the customers. And second is the operational excellence that we need to bring into the organization. Like we said, the use of digital technology. How well can we use digital technology in order to achieve the overall goals and objectives of the organization? So when we focus on these 2 key aspects, we need to create a strategic approach towards it, and then, of course, go ahead and achieve both the aspects. Understand the risks and the opportunities of digital and IT strategy. Well, of course, digital transformation is risky in itself. So inherently, it is risky to bring in digital transformation within the organization. So how do we manage those risks? So, but again, when once they are risky, they can also offer us with the opportunities to improve as well. So what opportunities are we going to look at as, or what opportunities can be rewarded or in order to remain competitive in the environment? Understand the steps and techniques involved in defining and advocating for digital and IT strategy. How do you advocate for digital and IT strategy? One of the key factors, one of the key reasons, we need to justify, we need to advocate for digital and IT strategy within the organization. Why do we need to bring such an change or such a significant change within the organization is something that we need to work through. And then understand how to implement a digital and IT strategy. What considerations do we need to take into the consideration, of course, so that we can implement the digital and IT strategy within the organization. All the basic objectives. About the course. So like I said, there are 11 chapters in there, which has been divided into three key sections. 11 chapters or 11 modules. Section 1, we talk about what is digital and IT strategy, under which we have two chapters, key concepts of digital and IT strategy, and the strategy and the service value system. Section 2 talks about the strategy journey, which is which works through the continual improvement model. What is the vision? Where are we now? Where do we want to be and how do we get there? Both are combined together in terms of strategic planning and strategic approaches that we're going to use. So of course, we need to go ahead and create a plan and then need to find a right approach in order to implement that plan as well. Then we talk about take action. Did we get there? And how do we keep the momentum going? All the 7 steps of the overall continual improvement model. Section 3 talks about the strategic capabilities of the organization, which is managing innovation and emerging technologies and managing the strategic risk. Right. So these are the 11 chapters that we need to work through in order to understand overall concepts here. So like we said, today we are going to do module 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tomorrow, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And on the last day or third day, 9, 10, and 11. Plus the exam practice on the third day. During these modules itself, the assignments that we were talking about would come across. So as and when the assignment comes, we can work through the assignments as well. So these are the individual assignments that you need to work on. I mean, I can help, but based on the feedback once you're completed with the assignment. But I cannot work with you in terms of completing the assignment. So first you have to complete the assignment and then we can work through it. I can provide you with the feedback. You can make changes to the assignments and share that assignment file back to me. Right, let's see. So the 4 assignments that we were talking about earlier, this qualification includes 4 practical assignments based on a case study. The case study has been created for the practical assignments of ITL4 Digital and IT Strategy course. Describes 3 fictional companies. Any resemblance to real companies is unintentional. Participants of the course are expected to work on the practical assignments in small groups or individually if they are taking the PeopleCert official or other accredited e-learning course. Marking of the assignments is not mandatory, but many times it can happen that PeopleCert can ask us. I mean, as a trainer, they can ask me that if the assignments were done in the class or not. If I say yes, then I have to share the proof. That is the reason that I said that, you need to fill the assignments and send it back to me. So I would keep a record of it just in case PeopleCert asks, then I'll have to share it. So for the assignments, in what assessment criteria is there? The ITL guiding principles are there for all the assignments. Assignment number 1 talks about the digital positioning tool to understand the current state of the organization, the readiness assessment, and appropriate position for the digital organization. Where do they want to move? That would be the focus area. For second assignment, applying the strategic approaches for digital organization, the ones that we are going to learn about, once we are going to talk, ones that we are going to talk about. Third one is focused on the approaches to strategic coordination and implementation. Well, of course, if you're going to do a big bang implementation, you're going to do a phased implementation, you're going to do incremental implementation depending upon the context. And the fourth one, applying digital and IT strategy in managing the VUCA environment, the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and the ambiguity within the environments. Now, there can always be certain industries, certain markets wherein uh, VUCA factors are high, which means highly volatile, highly uncertain, highly complex, highly ambiguous. All these factors could be there. Then, on the other hand, there can be certain industries or markets which are more stable. So, how do we understand those VUCA factors and how do we implement actions related to these VUCA factors is what we are going to focus on within the assignment number 4. Three companies, like we said, that there is MCL, which is the Language Learning Center. There is TNH, which is the new hospitality company. And there is Intilearn, which is a software startup. Like I said, you need to select one out of these three companies and then answer all the 4 assignments based on these three companies. That's what they're saying here as well. One of the 3 functional companies described in the case study should be selected to complete the 4 assignments. It is expected to work on practical assignment in small groups or individually if we are taking a self-paced online course or if even if we are working in this particular format. Uh, and it is recommended that each group selects a different company. However, all learners are expected to be familiar with entire case study. Well, this is important. Why do I say that? Because these 3 companies that they're talking about, the MCL, TNH, and IntiLearn, they are also interrelated with each other, right? So, for example, MCL is a language learning center and TNH is the new hospitality company. So they can always offer travel along with learning, right? So that's kind of a relationship that they have created. MCL can also work with the IntiLearn or the software startup in order to improve their overall way of delivery of these trainings. So that's the way they are connected to each other. So we need to read the complete case study, understand their alignments or the relations between the different companies, and then we have to select one of it and then answer it from their perspective. Then components, practically, I'll be sharing the case study. I'll be sharing the assignment forms. There are individual takeaway forms as well. If you would like to take away something from it, what did you learn and how things work through that part. So just some documents that I will be sharing with you. Any questions till now? Hmm. Absolutely. All right. Key concepts of digital and IT strategy. So, sir, before we begin with this, I just need to use the restroom quickly. I'll just come back in 2 minutes and we'll begin. Thanks. Hello, sir. I'm back. Are you there? Great. All right. So let's begin with the key concepts of digital and IT strategy. So, along with the concepts that we would be discussing, I would be underlining some points within the presentation. These points would be really important when it comes to answering the questions for the exam, right? So, remember those points and how do we differentiate between different terms and those aspects is what I'm going to underline and let you know. So just the syllabus part, understand the following concepts of digital technology, digital business, digital organization, digitization, digital transformation, understand the concepts of business strategy and business models, digital and IT strategy, products and services, and know how to define operating models for digital organization based on all the practices. Similar are the what will you learn aspects here, understand the following concepts, the different terms, digital technology, digital business, digital organization, digitization, digital transformation, and understand the following concepts of business strategy and business models, digital and IT strategy, products and services. So let's see intent and the context. Digital and IT strategy focuses on alignment of digital business strategy with IT strategy. Well, of course, see, anything that we do within the organization needs to have some contribution to the organizational objectives, right? So anything that exists within the organization would definitely have some kind of contribution. Could be a direct contribution, could be an indirect contribution, but it would only exist if it is helping the organization to achieve its overall strategic objectives. Similar is the case here as well. Digital and IT strategy focuses on the alignment of the overall digital business strategy with the IT strategy, because IT is an integral part of becoming a digital organization. Then it is important to understand the tiers of strategy, key concepts of digital and IT strategy. The terms, which are strategy, business model, tactics, are often used interchangeably. However, they each have different meanings. It is important to understand the difference in these terms. In addition, it is important to focus on the key concepts that will help the leaders navigate the successive waves of technological innovation. These concepts include the same ones that we saw earlier as well: digital technology, digital organization, digital business, digitization, digital transformation, and products and services. 6 topics here that we are going to go through: digital information, operational, and communication technology, digital organization, digital business, digitization, and digital transformation, services, products, and competitive advantage, the tiers of strategy, the business models, and the operating models. So let's see. The first one, digital information, operational, and communication technology. Now, digital technology is any technology. Yeah. Level 1 and level 2. Level 1 and level 2 is good enough. Yeah. So, yeah, digital technology. Now, when we talk about this term digital technology, it is anything that digitizes something or processes the digital data. It encompasses the information technology and the parts of operational technology that have been digitized. Digital technology also depends on the use of communication technology, which makes it an Internet of Things. Now, let's take an example. First, let's see what they say about information technology and operational technology. Information technology is the one that provides users with information. Operational technology is the one that detects or changes the state of physical devices. They get combined with CT, communication technology, so that we can achieve Internet of Things. Now, let's understand it based on an example. Now, information technology, communication technology, operational technology, now it has enabled the organization to work remotely, right? So, for example, if you are the database administrator of a particular database in the organization and you want to restart or refresh it, you can do it from any remote location. You just need the internet connection for doing it. Now, when you're using a laptop, that is the information technology because that's where you store the information. Database, when you're changing the physical state of the device, which is restarting it, that's an operational technology that we're using. And internet is what you're using to connect, or VPN, for example, that you're using to connect to your company's network. That is your communication technology. That makes it Internet of Things, which collectively is called digital technology. Now, this has been a little example towards the server. A very simple example, you can control your, let's say, your car from your mobile phone, right? Or your aircon from your mobile phone, your smart TV from your mobile phone. That's also part of digital technology. Mobile phone would be information technology. When you switch off your aircon, the physical state of the aircon changes. That's your operational technology. And the way that you're using to connect to it could be Bluetooth, could be internet, could be infrared, could be anything. That is your communication technology. So that also makes it at a part of digital technology, right? So anything, like they said, anything that digitizes something or processes the digital data is what is considered as digital technology. Again, taking it a little deeper with information technology, they say application of digital technology to store, retrieve, transit, and manipulate data, often in the context of a business or other kind of an organization, is what is called as information technology. The definition is what they're giving you here. Is that IT exists as information system that consists hardware, system software, data, and applications are used for the purpose of data processing. Something that we all know about, right? So there can be hardware, softwares, data, applications that we use in order to process the data is all part of my information technology. And the objective of IT is to make information available to end user. Well, of course, so that the information can be made available to the end users and they can take informed decisions based on that information. Similarly, operational technology, application of digital technology for detecting or causing changes in the physical devices through monitoring and control. The objective of OT is to use the digitized data to act. So when the data which has been stored in a digital form is used to change the state of physical devices there, that is when we call it an operational technology. So operational technology uses the digital data to change the state. Information and communication technologies connect OT devices to one another and to information system. Resulting solution comprised of what is known as Internet of Things. So like I said, IoT, the Internet of Things, comprises both or all the information technology, the operational technology, and the communication technology collectively working together, which is what we call it as Internet of Things. For the communication technology, any technology that encodes, transmits, or decodes signal, voice, or data is what a communication technology is. Communication technology is seen as a component of either IT or OT, and enables IT and OT to be highly mobile and accessible to organizations, consumers, and other stakeholders. So, of course, Within the IT and OT, there could be a communication technology as well. So, for example, when I say a mobile phone and it can get connected via Bluetooth, so Bluetooth is a communication technology, and the mobile phone itself is an information technology. So, it can always be integrated or considered as a part of IT or OT as well. Internet of Things, a system of interrelated computing devices and mechanical and digital machines that are interconnected via internet, enabling them to send and receive data without human interaction or with little human intervention. IoT has evolved from the combination of several technologies, including machine learning, sensors, embedded systems, and real time analytics. IoT has been applied within the consumer, commercial, industrial, infrastructure, and military industrial environments. Well, of course, you would see different industries or different markets using IoT for delivering their core services to the consumers. So it can be used within the consumer environment, commercial environment, industrial environment, infrastructure, military industrial environments, anywhere. Which brings us to the next topic, which is about the digital organization, digital business, digitization, and digital transformation. So just in case you would have any questions in between, please stop me then and there and ask your questions. So don't wait for me to, finish it, because many times it happens with me that I keep going in a flow. So if in case you would have any questions, so let me know. Digital organization is an organization that is enabled by digital technology to do business significantly differently or to do a significantly different business. Now, how do we understand this term or these terms? Consider an example. Let's say there are two banks. One is an analog bank, another one is a digital bank. For the analog bank, you have to go to the branch for doing any type of transaction that you would like to do. Right. So you always have to physically be available in the branch to do any transaction, to transfer the money, to withdraw money, to deposit money, to do anything. And on the other hand, then there is a digital bank. For digital bank, most of the services are offered over the mobile phone or mobile banking, or for withdrawing and depositing the cash, they have ATM machines which you can use. Now, both of them are in the same industry, but they are doing the business significantly differently. One is working with the older ways of working, old school type, and one is using the digital technology for doing the same business in a different way. That is what do business significantly differently is about. Then do a significantly different business. For this one, let's take an example. Traditionally, if we want to do shopping, how would we go? How would we do the shopping? We would go to the physical markets. We would find the product that we want. We'll purchase it, we'll pay for it, and we'll come back. That's the traditional way of doing it. Now we have online shopping, e-commerce websites, right? So any styling or cosmetic retailers who are offering services online, right? So now in this case, based on the digital technology, they're doing a completely different business. Though shopping remains the same, but traditionally it used to be the physical one. Now it is digital one based on the digital technology. So they do a significantly different business altogether. Then they said digital organizations rely on digital technology as a fundamental component of their business and operating models. When we call an organization as a digital organization, they're using the digital technology as a basis, as a fundamental for delivering their services. Sorry, or for running their business and the operating models. Then products and services of an organization often have a digital component, such as a mobile app to order services, or maybe entirely digital, such as an online stock trading service. Well, of course, products and services, you would see many mobile apps to order food nowadays, to order products, to do shopping, to get in touch with the service providers, multiple things an app can do, right? So that can be a digital component of an organization, or could be an entirely digital organization itself, like online stock trading companies or online stock trading services is what can be offered. Now, digital business. When does an organization call itself as a digital organization or they run a digital business? One thing that we have to always remember about digital transformation is that there are no set standards. There are no set weighted scales. There is nothing, no set criteria for making an organization as a digital organization. Every organization, based on their core products and services, would have a different definition of digital business. I'll give you an example. McDonald's. McDonald's have a self-service kiosk, right? Which is, of course, a digital technology that they're using to support their core business activities. So if they've installed, let's say, self-service kiosk at all their outlets, that is when they can call themselves as a digital business or a digital organization. On the other hand, there is, again, Amazon, there is Uber, right? So these kind of organization are completely dependent upon delivering their products and services to the consumers based on digital technology. So they may just have a different definition of calling themselves as digital organization. So, like I said, every organization may just have a different understanding, different definition, different criteria against which they can call themselves as digital organization. You may have heard of something called CMMI. Have you heard of CMMI? Capability Maturity Model Integration. Right. So there are different levels within CMMI, starting from level 1 till level 5, that defines the maturity of an organization. There is no such maturity concept here for digital transformation. Again, the reason being that every organization might just have a different scale to call themselves as digital organization. Yes. So that's See, that's what I said. Every organization would have a different scale of calling themselves as a digital organization. Now, it can be for an organization which have a lot of complexity within their environment, and they're using digital technology to navigate through that complexity and run their business. They can also call themselves as a digital organization. There can be other organizations which are just using emails for doing their business, just sending and receiving messages for running their businesses. So for that organization, that scale would be different. That's the reason I said that there is no set standard. There is no set criteria. There is no set scale for an organization against which they can call themselves as digital. So every organization needs to go ahead and define those things, right? So let's say if I am an analog organization right now, I do everything manually. Now I want to bring in digital transformation. So what would be the scale of digital transformation? For example, I would be digitizing my processes. I would be digitizing my core business services. I would be digitizing my the document management system, for example, quality management system, for example, right? So that is something that as an organization, I need to decide. And if I achieve it, I can call myself as a digital organization or a digital business. Then for digital business, they say activities which enable an organization to fulfill its purpose and which are based on the use of digital technology. Now, again, they say they do not say to what extent they have to use the digital technology. To any extent that they are using digital technology, they can call themselves as digital business. That is the reason they also say, sorry, that's also the reason that they say that this term is widely used in the industry to refer to different things. The term is widely used in the industry to refer to different things. An organization that uses digital technology as the basis for conducting its operations can call themselves as a digital business. An organization that provides digital products and services, they can also call themselves as a digital business. The core business activities that have been digitized in the organization, regardless of whether it is a commercial entity or not, they can also call themselves as a digital business. A methodology, the technology used to interact virtually with the consumers, so that can also be uh, considered as digital business. The methodology or a framework for adopting or using new technologies, they can also use it. A business model template containing pre-populated alternative digital technologies and adopting it can also call themselves as digital business. Activities that an organization performs digitally, which are distinct from the organization itself, can also call themselves as digital business. So that's the reason that I said that this particular term, digital business, we need to defined by the organization, right? So whatever definition that they would like to give themselves as a digital organization, they can go ahead and do that, and then, of course, achieve it and start calling themselves as a digital business. Hmm. Digitization. Remember the word. Whenever they're talking about digitization, they would talk about the process of transforming something, from example, sound or image, from analog to digital form by expressing the information in the binary digits. Now, how do we differentiate between digital technology and digitization? Digital technology is anything that digitizes something, whereas digitization is the process that we are going to follow in order to digitize something. Right? So, for example, I have a physical paper. I want to keep a digital copy of it. So I go to a scanner, I scan it, I save it on my computer. So that the process that I followed is my digitization. Whereas the scanner, the computer that I used in order to achieve it, that's my digital technology. So when it comes to digitization, always remember the word, the process. So again, the process that was followed from the wristwatches from being analog to smartwatch. The process that was followed was digitization. The technology that was used, that was digital technology, right? So that's how we differentiate between digitization and digital technology. No, yes, they are different. They are different. I'll tell you why. Because whenever we use the word transformation is a major change that we are bringing in, which would help the organization to achieve its strategic objectives. That is what a digital transformation is. See, an email could be a digital technology, a mobile phone could be a digital technology, An app could be a digital technology, but unless it is contributing significantly enough to the achievement of the organization's objective, we cannot call it as digital transformation. This is what digital transformation is. Again, remember certain keywords. The use of digital technology to enable a significant improvement in the realization of organization's objective that could not feasibly have been achieved by non-digital means. That is when we call it transformation. Di- Yes, to achieve the strategic business objectives. Digital transformation is achieved by digitizing, robotizing, and other forms of automation that enable the organization to do things differently or to do different things. As defined in the figure, digital transformation impacts all the areas of an organization and is not limited to data and technology. Sorry, robotizing. I mean, the robots, automatic work, machine learning and robotics. Can you relate? Yeah. So, like we said, the digital transformation is not limited to the data and the technologies. It can affect any area within the organization. Now you see the complexity here in the picture. When it comes to digital transformation, it can have an impact on multiple different areas. Sustained competitive advantage, technology, strategy and business model innovation, operations and processes, customers, value, organizational change, improvement, innovation, new revenue, leadership, and all of these changes that would come across based on digital transformation can have an impact on each other. That's why it creates a complex nature or the complex aspect that can always be affected by digital transformation. And of course, when we are talking about transformation, we are always looking at the positive impact of it, not really the negative impact. Many organizations, they do undertake digital transformation when they're not ready. So doing a readiness assessment is very important when it comes to beginning the digital transformation. Where do we stand and where do we want to be? Services, products, and competitive advantage. Now, this is something that is coming from the foundation level itself. Do you remember any such picture from foundation? So that is where they are picking it up from. The products and services that an organization offers are central to its strategy. Well, of course, as this is how it realizes its purpose and co-creates value. Well, that's how an organization essentially works. Or the overall products and services that we have are the core point of my strategy. That's how we are going to realize value. This figure depicts the relationship between the products and services, which is the basis for business decisions and which operating model it chooses to use. Well, quickly, resources that the organization has or they possess. It can be a person or other entity that is required for executing an activity or achieving an objective. Resources may be owned or employed by the organization or contracted from a third party. So it can be any which ways. It can either be owned, it can be employed by the organization, or it can come in from the third party resources as well. For the products, a configuration of the organization's resources. So again, what are the resources? People, the technology, the infrastructure, the cost, uh, any other factor that is contributing, all are considered as resource. So when we combine all these resources together, we develop a product which is designed to offer value for a consumer. Now, these products can be offered in three forms: service offerings, which are goods where the ownership is transferred to the consumer. There can be access to resources where the ownership is not transferred, but the access is granted. And there could be service actions, which are the promises made by the service provider. A quick example: goods could be, for example, a mobile phone that I'm purchasing, a laptop that I'm purchasing, any hardware that I'm purchasing. Now the ownership is with me. I need to make full use of it and achieve the outcomes. Access to resources: the ownership is not transferred, the access is granted, like I said. So for example, any Google Drive, OneDrive, Microsoft OSs that we use, the operating system, Windows 11, any applications that we use, we are only getting the access to it. We are not owning it. And service actions could be any warranties that are offered by the service provider, any help desk or the service desk that is provided by the service provider could be part of my service actions. Service offerings can be individually offered, can be only goods, can be only access to resources, can be only service actions, or it can be a combination of all of these three. Right. So for example, if I'm purchasing a laptop, I get an access to OneDrive for free for 1 year. Along with that, I also get the desktop support for any issues that I may face going forward. So it could be a combination of all these three, or it could be offered individually as well. And then there are services, the means of enabling value co-creation by facilitating outcomes that the customer wants to achieve without the customers having to manage specific cost and the risks associated with it. That's the definition of a service. Important words here or keywords here: value co-creation by facilitating outcomes that the customer wants to achieve without customers having to manage specific cost and risks. Sorry. No. A service level agreement is an agreement under which the service actions would be mentioned. For example, if I say that a help desk would be provided to the service consumer 24/7, when we provide that, that is service action, but that would be mentioned within the service level agreement, documented within the service level agreement. Yeah. Wadley's mapping and strategy cycle. Now, this is something that is not important from the exam perspective. So exam is not going to ask you any questions based on a specific techniques. So Wadley mapping and strategy cycle, not important from the exam perspective, but just to give you a reference. He said this method is used to understand how the services and the products are created and delivered and their competitive advantages. It's a visual method to make strategic decisions through a strategy cycle. The strategy cycle considers 5 factors. First, the purpose. Why are we doing it? The scope of what the organization is doing and why. Two things. Now, if you look at the strategy cycle or the Wadley mapping in a very generic way, for doing anything, these are the five factors that we look at. The landscape, which is the environment in which the organization is competing, right? So the ecosystem in which we exist, in which we compete. Climate, the forces acting on the environment. For example, any regulatory requirements, any local laws, any local culture that is affecting the organization. So what are the forces that can act within the given environment? Then there is doctrine, which is the guiding principles that we are using within the organization. Understand how we perform, how we work, what guiding principles do we follow. Though ITL suggests 7 guiding principles, but there can always be organizations which have more than 7 principles. For example, the organizations following the agile approach, they may just have the 12 principles, right? So we need to understand how we actually go ahead and take decisions based on these principles that we have. And then there is leadership, the context specific strategy chosen after considering the above factors. So the decision making is done based on the leadership. These factors can inform the organization's iterative strategy cycle. Well, of course, that is what these are considered for or considered as. So we need to always understand as to why are we doing things, what environment are we competing in, what is the climate, what are the forcing actions that are forcing upon us, for being forced upon us, doctrine by understanding the guiding principles, and then take a decision. Now, would you think for not just for digital transformation, for any initiative, any, for example, smaller project, any program, any portfolio changes, any operational changes that we look at, we always consider these factors, right? So same goes for the digital transformation as well. So when an organization needs to take a decision in terms of transforming the organization digitally, then they need to look at all these different factors. The Wardley strategic cycle can help organization better understand its situational awareness and the where and why inform action, which then defines how and what and when to prevent any impulsive actions. Well, of course, so we understand the current position of the organization. Where do we stand? Why are we doing this? Then how are we going to do this? What is it that needs to be done? And when are we going to do it? So that we don't have to take any impulsive action, we can always plan it accordingly. So situational awareness is what it also offers. So Wadley mapping provides organization with the strategic and the topographical map. In the situational awareness, where and why is what we look at, the position and the movement, the strategy. For decision making, what and when is something that we look at. What is it that we need to do? When are we going to do it? And who and how for taking the actions. Then there are tiers of strategy: business, digital, and IT strategy. They say many of the approaches to digital strategy are based on the tiered model, which is shown here. How do we understand the difference? First thing is the business strategy. The strategy created at the top of the organization at the board of directors level of the organization. The organization strategy is called the business strategy or the enterprise strategy, right? So the overall organization, where do we want to go? What do we want to achieve is what we define in the business strategy. Then there is IT strategy. The IT strategy is separate, but supports both the digital enablement of the projects and the established parts of the organization. Well, of course, as an organization, they can always help us to run through different projects, IT related projects, and the parts of the organization can always be supported by IT strategy as well. So, for example, for a certain part of the organization, if technology has already been implemented, so they can support that technology as well as they can run new projects too. And similarly, the digital strategy, which is a subset of business strategy and applies to those parts of business that will be impacted by digital technology, right? So, of course, what parts of business are going to be affected by the digital technology is something that we define within the digital strategy. Now, this is a traditional model. This is a traditional perspective. That's how organizations used to plan. But this has changed now. What has it come to? Okay, let's just first look at. Okay, let's just first look at this. Then we'll talk about what has changed. There's a business strategy is how an organization defines and achieves its purpose. Well, of course, as an organization, how are we going to define and achieve the overall purpose? It encompasses the way of defining, refining, and communicating the vision of the organization, a way of defining its objectives, its overall business model, a means of aligning parts of the organization's ecosystem to achieve its goal. For example, people, information and technology, value streams and processes, partners and suppliers. How do they align together? Determine how the decisions are made and what actions are taken. Agreement on which course of action the organization will take and how to allocate resources to them, often in the form of strategic plans. And the definition of what an organization will not do. Well, it is an important aspect. Many organizations overlook this aspect. We do say that within the strategy, we need to identify all the actions that we need to take, but we also need to explicitly define what is it that we are not going to do as an organization, right? So, specific exclusions, when we are mentioned, we can always set the right expectation for all the stakeholders to make them understand as to what is it that we are going to do and what is it that we're not going to do. So that helps in terms of setting the right expectations. For digital strategy, this is a business strategy that is based on all or in part of using digital technology to achieve its goals and purpose. Well, of course, the term digital strategy is commonly used to refer to the elements of the strategy that are based on the use of digital technology. Of course, what aspects would be using the overall digital technology. A migration plan whereby an organization automates its activities or replaces the outdated technology with digital technology. Well, of course, any legacy systems that we are following as an organization or we are using as an organization, we can always replace it with modernized technology. The two key information box statements suggest that the digital strategy is seen as a subset of business strategy. Business strategy is separate from technology used to achieve it. And alternatively, digital strategy is seen as a subset of business strategy and is limited to optimizing the organization's performance. Well, to put all that information into simple words, digital strategy would always help the organization by implementing digital technology within the organization to better achieve its goals and objectives or to improve the organization's performance. The traditional perspective that we looked at earlier, and this is what it has changed to. They say digital strategy is merely a business strategy based on emerging technologies. This figure provides a revised and better illustration of how digital, business, and IT strategies are related. The figure illustrates how digital and IT strategy merge in response to an organization's growing reliance on technology. This is achieved by seeking new opportunities and maximizing the use of current capabilities. Well, of course, see what they define here. Outermost layer is always the business strategy, because business strategy defines what is it that the organization is going to achieve and how are they going to achieve it. Digital strategy since it is based on the digital technology, needs to combine with the IT strategy, identify new opportunities based on the emerging technology, and then maximize the use of it. So both now works in integration with each other. They both are combined together to some extent in order to make better use of it. Yeah. Digital strategy is a component of IT strategy. Okay. Yes. Hmm. That's correct. That absolutely. Why? Because again, like we said, digital tech strategy is there to ensure that by the use of digital technology, we need to support the business strategy. One thing. Second, the digital strategy needs to be implemented based on technology. That would be related to IT strategy, right? So they both need to be intertwined, integrated together in terms of achieving the overall business strategy. Now, for IT strategy, there can be different uh, ways in which organizations express their IT strategy. They can be part of a digital strategy. Digital technology includes IT. The use originated from the time when the IT solutions were used to achieve a competitive advantage. This use of term has largely been replaced by the term digital strategy. Well, of course, now they don't more call it an IT strategy. They simply call it digital strategy, which includes IT strategy as well. Then there could be as a technology strategy or corresponding architecture that supports digital strategy. For example, what type of IT will deliver a uniform customer experience across a variety of platform? I believe this is how you looked at it earlier. So it was a technology strategy, and that's how how is it a corresponding architecture is supporting the digital strategy. And then as a back office strategy or administrative elements of information technology, data center based strategy, infrastructure based strategy. This again largely depends on how an organization is structured and how the organization moves forward. The IT strategy alone is about understanding how an organization's IT department supports its business goals, which technology will be used to perform business operations, how to utilize technology envisioned in digital strategy, how to move to technology that supports the organization's objectives, and the nature and role of technology suppliers. When we are talking about defining the IT strategy, we need to answer or ask these questions and answer these questions, of course, in order to have a successful IT strategy. Then there is a business model. So, would you like to take a short break before we begin with this one? Yeah. All right. So, go ahead. You were saying something. The first short break. Yeah. All right. So let's come back in about 20 minutes and then we'll continue from here. Thank you.